Welcome to another video.
So guys, I'd like you to come along with me for a little bit of a walk, and I'd like to tell you about something that happened to me about a month ago. Now, it's at the same time funny, a little bit annoying, and also very disturbing all at the same time. You all know that I have a car, right? Here in China, I've been driving a car for over 6 years now, I'd say. Yeah, over 6 years. And actually lately I've stopped driving as much as before because, to be honest, driving in Shenzhen is just becoming too much of a pain in the ass. It's expensive, and when I say expensive, I mean it's expensive because parking rates are expensive. They've introduced all sorts of new special fines. There are certain roads that you cannot drive on during the day if you have a certain license plate. A lot of rules which are very unclear, especially if you don't understand the Chinese bulletin boards that they put up. They've got LED signs, and sometimes they just change the rules and they stick it up there, and you could be driving along blissfully and getting, big fines and points of your license. So it's actually a pain in the ass. So I don't drive that much. I still do drive at least once a week though, up to my shop in Huizhou. And this is where this thing happened. Okay, so here's the story. I was driving up to the shop on a Monday morning, as I usually do, quite early. And as I was getting onto the highway, there's like an on-ramp. This guy sort of came out of nowhere really aggressively he had like an old Buick, revving and swerving and just doing crazy stuff right next to me. And he kind of intimidating all the traffic around us. And so like a lot of people just peeled off or slowed down. But he came right next to me and he was like, I don't know what the hell he was doing. So he revving and swerving towards me the whole time. So I was like, screw this guy. He's dangerous. He's trying to run me off the road here. So I just accelerated and I basically went past him on the emergency lane because this guy was just all over the place, right? So anyway, I passed him, carried on, and that was that. Then, a couple weeks later, I receive a fine because you get these apps that you can track if you've got traffic fines or not. And I received a fine saying that I had received a 3,000 RMB fine. And I was like, what the hell? That's a lot of money. And 6 points off my license. Now, 3,000 RMB is roughly $500, a little less, but it's about $500. So it's not like a small amount of money here I'm talking about. It's like a month's rent. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go down to the station and check it out. Like, what the hell's going on? So I went down with my fiance to the traffic police station, and they've got a computer there. And on the computer you can type in your car details, your license plate and your registration VIN number and stuff, and it shows you the pictures. And sure enough, there I am going over the emergency lane on the highway, and the photo is from a Dashcam. And I can see by the color of the car, it's that bloody Buick, that aggressive, horrible driver Buick. So I was like, what the hell's going on here? How can I get a fine? First of all, a ridiculously high fine like that. And it's from someone's dash cam? Well, here's the rub. Here's what really is the whole deal with this situation is driving in China is somewhat of a free-for-all, to be honest. It's very chaotic. People are very selfish in the way they drive. I've explained this before in other videos in the past, but basically if you don't try to squeeze in, you'll never get in. And it's very frustrating. So in order to try and combat this situation, the Shenzhen government has enacted a new law where you basically get to tattletale on fellow drivers. And by doing so, they get big fines and it dissuades them from doing bad things in traffic. What people can do is if people drive badly, and if they take a photo, you can take a photo with your phone or your dash cam or whatever, you can send it into the traffic police and they will reward you. So basically they give you about 50 RMB if they successfully manage to fine the offender. So what happens is they send the offender some really big fine, and then they pay the reward to the tattletale guy who sent in the picture, right? So what that guy had done is essentially run me off the road to make 50 RMB, which is disgusting because it ended up costing me almost $500 US. So what this has now caused is it's caused people like that damn Buick to go out there and on purpose try to entrap people in order to make money. And this infuriates me because this is just like the lowest of the low scum kind of stuff, right? But it seems to be the case. And basically, I asked my fiance, and she looked it up on Weibo and stuff. And apparently, this is what people are doing. They'll do things like go in the slow lane of the road, the highway or the whatever road, and drive like incredibly slow, like 5 kilometers an hour, to kind of really annoy the people behind them. So they get frustrated, and then they pass them, and then they snap the picture and send it off and get money. And I was reading one of those Weibo posts where somebody, like in one sitting, made, 450 RMB because 9 cars passed them. So, here we go. Another little scam here to watch out for if you're driving in China. If someone seems to be baiting you into breaking the road rules, crossing over a white line, going into the emergency lane, something like that, just ignore them or find a safe way to get around them. Because I had no choice. I had to pay the fine. It was painful because it was right before the holiday. But there we go. There was nothing I could do. There's no recourse. They've got me on camera going over the emergency lane on the highway. Here are the pictures. And so that was that. Right, guys, so basically the message here is when you're driving in China, especially down in the south of China here, remain extra vigilant. Of course, there's a lot of chaos going around. You have to watch out for cars and people and various things coming onto the road. But now you have to watch out for scammers too. That's it, really. Oh, but speaking of driving, my little Chinese car? It now has over 90,000 kilometers on the odometer. So I'm going to make a video very soon where we take a look at it and see what's gone wrong over the years and just how well it's held up being a cheap Chinese car. So, yes, I don't want to end off on a negative note. Things are actually pretty good, except for the weather. As you can see around me, it's a little cold at the moment. So, I'll see you guys in the next video, and until then, as always, stay awesome.